Jin-Woo's team panicked at seeing their dead comrades, and they wanted to get out of the dungeon as fast as they could. But Mr. Song reminded them that the statue would attack again if they moved. While Jin-Woo was trying to calm Ju-hee down, Mr. Song asked if he figured out that the statue would attack. He thought everyone would be dead if not for Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo replied that it just seemed dangerous, and then he was shocked to see that Mr. Song had lost his arm. He asked Jin-Woo to help stop the bleeding, as he couldn't rely on Ju-hee, who was on the ground still panicking, and it was why she was joining easy raids despite being a B-rank healer. He had also entered a B-rank dungeon previously, so he could tell that the statue was A rank or even S, and they thought that the god mentioned in the Kartanen Temple's commandments was that statue. When the gates full of magic beasts appeared, the hunters were tasked with defeating these monsters using their special abilities. However, since a hunter's power never changes, there are times when they encounter monsters beyond their power, and it induces absolute despair. Inside a university, Jinna asked Song-hee why she was almost late. She replied that the reason was nothing special, and instead she asked Jinna if her brother was a hunter. Jinna affirmed, but she explained that since he's just an E-rank hunter, he's always getting hurt. Hearing this, Song-hee thought she could even do a better job. At the same time, Mr. Song concluded that the statue was too strong for them to fight, so they had to collect themselves and search for a way to escape. However, one of their teammates, who was confident with his speed, channeled his ability and dashed towards the entrance. However, only his feet were left after getting blasted by the statue. Seeing this, Jin-Woo and Mr. Song realized that the statue could wipe them out easily, so they asked themselves why it wasn't killing them right away. Jin-Woo thought it was unlike any ordinary beast that would attack on sight. Jin-Woo remembered the commandments and asked Mr. Song what the first one was. When Jin-Woo heard that it was to revere God, he realized that the dungeon has its own rules. To confirm this, Jin-Woo stood up and bowed towards the statue to stop it from attacking. He immediately asked his teammates to do the same. Park and Kim questioned him, but Mr. Song realized that he figured out something, so Jin-Woo explained that as long as they kept their heads low and revered the statue like the commandment says, it wouldn't attack. Everyone followed after hearing that Jin-Woo was certain about it, and while Kim was wondering if this would save them, the statue's expression changed into a creepy smile. Park got up, and he rejoiced when the statue didn't attack. The others also got up. They thought they were saved and could finally go home. However, while Jin-Woo thought it wasn't over, the statue also stood up from its throne. Mr. Song panicked and asked if Jin-Woo had a plan. Jin-Woo replied that he had none, but he knew that they had to figure out what the second commandment, which was to praise God, meant. One of them, who knew some exalments for gods, bowed in front of the statue and praised it. However, Jin-Woo realized that his words weren't working, and the guy died under its feet without any resistance. The statue stepped on another hunter who was frozen in place in fear. Mr. Song told everyone to spread out, while Park thought it would be safer near the other statues. However, despite Kim's warning, Park was sliced in half by the statue. While running away with Ju-hee, Jin-Woo was still trying to figure out what the second commandment meant. He looked around and noticed that some statues were holding instruments instead of weapons. He figured it would be safe in front of these statues, and it was confirmed when the statue in front of Mr. Song started playing its instrument when he got close enough. Kim cried after arriving safely in front of a statue holding another instrument, while Jin-Woo found out that the statue wouldn't play its instrument if there were more than one person nearby. So he ran towards another statue to save Ju-hee. However, while dodging the huge statue's stomp, Jin-Woo got in range and was attacked by another statue holding a shield. But Jin-Woo refused to die, and he crawled towards a singing statue to barely survive. The biggest statue returned to its throne, so Ju-hee immediately came to check Jin-Woo's condition, and she realized that he had lost a leg. Ju-hee treated his wounds, but she started bleeding from overexerting herself. Seeing their fallen comrades, they thought it was like a nightmare. However, Kim started blaming Mr. Song for everything. He pretended that it wasn't his or Park's idea to enter the dungeon, while Mr. Song accepted the responsibility as he made the final decision. At the same time, an altar formed in the middle of the dungeon. Jin-Woo immediately figured out that it would be for offering a sacrifice, as the third commandment was to prove their faith. Hearing this, Kim immediately thought of sacrificing Mr. Song. He pressured Mr. Song by reminding him that he had agreed to take responsibility, and he stopped the others from interfering until Mr. Song agreed. Jin-Woo thought it wasn't Mr. Song's fault, as they all voted to decide. However, Mr. Song was already in the middle of the altar to sacrifice himself. They were confused when a flame suddenly lit up at the altar, but Mr. Song immediately asked Jin-Woo what he needed to do. Jin-Woo asked his two other teammates to bring him near the altar. They were afraid, but he was certain that nothing would happen, so they agreed. 3 more flames lit up the altar, but Jin-Woo hasn't figured out anything yet, and he asked if anyone would rescue them if they just waited. However, Mr. Song thought it was likely that the statues would make their move again before they got rescued, while Jin-Woo realized that once the dungeon's time was up and they failed, there would be a dungeon break and the statue could cross outside the gate. At the same time, Jinna arrived at the hospital where their mom was receiving treatment. She composed herself before entering her mom's room, and she happily told her mom everything that happened in her day. Jin-Woo also asked Kim and Joo-hee to come over to the altar. He realized it would light up the flames, and only then would something happen. After all the flames had lit up, the entrance to the dungeon opened. The blue flames died one by one while the statues started moving towards them. Jin-Woo realized that they could stop the statues' movements by looking at them. However, the girl supporting Jin-Woo panicked and ran towards the entrance. The door closed a bit, but the girl safely escaped. Jin-Woo noticed that blue flames were dying over time. He thought the open door was a trap to cause panic, and their faith was getting tested. However, seeing the girl escape safely, the guy supporting Jin-Woo tossed him aside to escape. Kim also wanted to leave after seeing this, but Jin-Woo stopped him as they wouldn't have enough people to keep an eye on the statues to stop their movements. Jin-Woo explained that they had to wait until all the blue flames were gone before all of them could safely escape. However, Kim stated that they could end up trapped as well. He acknowledged they would all be dead without Jin-Woo, despite him being the weakest among them, but he was desperate to survive, saying that he still had a family waiting outside, and he apologized before leaving. Despite this, Jin-Woo still refused to give up. Mr. Song thought the door would remain open as long as one of them stayed. He asked Joo-hee to look after Jin-Woo for him, but her legs actually gave out, so Jin-Woo asked Mr. Song to take Joo-hee and leave. Mr. Song wanted to stay, but Jin-Woo wouldn't be able to carry Joo-hee out with one leg left. Joo-hee wanted to sacrifice herself instead, but Jin-Woo refused to listen. He reminded her of his promise to take her out to eat, and he gave her the only essence stone he had, asking her to use it to buy herself dinner. He declared that he would collect the change later after escaping. Joo-hee thought it was nonsense, but Mr. Song had to knock her unconscious as they were running out of time. Seeing them leave, Jin-Woo felt relieved that he was the only one who had to die. He regretted that he didn't have better life insurance, but he picked up a sword, hoping he could take down one of the statues with him. However, he couldn't hide his real thoughts anymore as the statues brutally attacked him. He felt despair that he couldn't get stronger despite all his efforts. He couldn't even scream in anguish as he got impaled at the altar. He felt resentment towards his selfish comrades, who used their family as an excuse to escape, not considering that he also had a family waiting for him to come out of the dungeon alive. While the statue was tossing him towards the center of the altar, he thought he was a stupid hypocrite to think it was good that he was the only one who had to die. And while the statue was about to finish him off, he was in tears while thinking that he didn't want to die. He wished he had another chance. At the same time, the blue flame died out. He saw a notification saying that he had acquired the qualifications to be a player, which he accepted before his heart could stop beating. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.